Welcome everybody to uSTADIUM Fantasy Live Week 14, one of the most important weeks for
Oof.
fantasy players who play around the globe. You're either trying to win to get in, you're trying to win to secure your buy or some money. Some of you are sitting back comfortably, and some of you are stressing. With me, as always, is the Sultan of Sits, Stefan Bershbombs. How's it going, brother?
It's going good. I've got no weeks really where I've got playoff matchups. I've got more like this is it for me. Like I've got to get in or I'm not. I've got one league where I'm on the cusp of it. If two guys lose, I got the points. I got one league where I'm going for the bye week still. Everyone from the top six is open up for that bye week. So it's one of those leagues, but I can't wait. It's week 14. It's gone so fast and we're here.
Oh, it's unreal how fast it's been, man.
And if you're in playoffs, listen, my condolences to you, Jonathan Taylor. Bye weeks. I talked to your commission. Maybe next time don't have a week 14 because that kind of stuff kind of hurts. But other than that, I'm ready for a bombshell. I'm ready for some fire starts and sits. I'm just ready for some football again, man. It's Sunday.
Yeah, buddy. I mean, it's been a tough week too with injuries and COVID designations. Elijah Moore, stud rookie wide receiver who's been lighting it up the past few weeks. Heartbreaker. He's headed to the IR with a quad injury. Daniel Jones is out. Darren Waller's out. JD McKissick's out. Kadarius Toney's out. Another electric rookie, Elijah Mitchell. He's out. Keenan Allen's out on the COVID list. Tevin Coleman's out, Antonio Brown, David Njoku, Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, Darrell Henderson, Tony Pollard. It just came on my across my phone. Tony Pollard's out, and Randall Cobb and Adrian Peterson. I think I got them all there. All those guys out. Some other keynotes. Deebo Samuel is expected to play. Alvin Kamara is back for the Saints. Mike Glennon will be the starter for the Giants. Sterling Shepard is expected to play. And Julio Jones. Julio is finally back from the IR, suiting up for the Tennessee Titans this week.
Welcome back. Finally, after a hiatus of like 6 weeks. Jesus.
Yeah, buddy. Mike B, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. We're excited for the show. I mean, some of the players that some guys are going to be plugging into their lineups this week, it's rough, man. I got one league. I need to win to get in. I started Antonio Gibson, Elijah Mitchell, and Jonathan Taylor last week. They combined for 80-plus touches. In that same league this week, I'm starting Rashad Penny, Antonio Gibson, and Jamison Crowder. So it is the way the fantasy pendulum swings. You're high one day and you're low the next. Thank you for the super chat donation.
Thank you, Krabs teacher.
We appreciate your support on a week in and week out basis here. Do you got any lineup questions that you want to ask off the top here?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm having like a good, like for the first time. So like
a good spot.
I drafted this team and I had lost Gus Edwards. I had lost Chark. I had lost like some big names, and I'm like, what am I going to do? So I got the Patterson, Javonte trade. Now I'm stuck with Nick Chubb, Mixon, Cordero Patterson, Javonte Williams, and Jeff Wilson. I don't know who to start. I need to score. Not only do I need to win this week, but I need to score at least 50 points more than the guy below me to secure that first round bye. I don't know who to start. I mean,
Steph.
I have to start Cordero.
Yeah, I start Cordero.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You froze there. You froze a little there for us.
Okay,
but I would probably fade. I would probably fade Jeff Wilson with Deebo Samuel back. He likes to take those red zone rushes away from the running back. So if there's one guy I'm probably not starting out of the bunch, it's probably Jeff Wilson. I got Rashad Penny or the Gordon. I'm not going to attempt his last name from the Detroit Lions.
Do you like the bouquet?
Godwin, that's it. Yeah, you got it. You nailed that one. Who should I start there? Should I start Penny or should I start Godwin?
Listen, people watching this is going to sound very absurd, but Godwin Igwebuike is going to be the guy because there is no one else. And as much as I want to be a Rashad Penny fan, the guy is honestly made of glass. Like, if he gets hurt, I just don't know if I don't trust anyone in that Seattle like running back room. To be honest with you, I do like Igwebuike. He was big. He was like a powerful run against Pittsburgh. And like I said, no Jamal Williams, no DeAndre Swift. So it's Jamar Jefferson and Godwin. I'm not going to say it every time his last name, but I think I've got to roll the dice with him. I'm starting him in one of my leagues too that I need to win.
I need to win to get in, man. Put all my eggs in the Igwebuike basket. Sounds like that's what I gotta do there. Jamar Jefferson is also in the backfield. He was dealing with an illness all week. He was a DNP Wednesday and Thursday, but he got in a full practice on Friday. Against Denver and Penny versus Houston. I mean, I don't know what to do there, man.
And it's not, like I said, we said all season, every week, it's like we have this one name that we go, who? And it's ugly, but like I always say, it works.
Yeah.
So you never know.
First question here. Holden Cantor, thank you for tuning in, Holden. Would you bench Hollywood Brown or Hunter Renfrow for Van Jefferson in a standard scoring league?
I don't think I would either.
Nah, I don't think. Maybe Renfrow for Jefferson in the standard league because Jefferson's going to break off more of those bigger plays down the field. But man, Renfro's volume, it's hard to ignore. It's hard to take that guy out of your lineup right now. Yeah. I'm more worried about the Chiefs' defense. They've been tough to play as of late. Derek Carr does not have a history of good success in Arrowhead Stadium. So, I mean, maybe Van Jefferson over Renfrow, but I'm keeping Marquise plugged in.
Yeah, I think Hollywood and Renfrow. It's just the name, the volume. Renfro is not the best guy, but like I said, that's all they have. And the Chiefs defense has been better. Don't get me wrong. They have been a better pass defense, but still, it's the Chiefs defense. You can still kind of toss in Renfro there. He'll still get you good standard points. If you need the win, if you need that boom play, you think Jefferson gets that one missed tackle for 60-yard touchdown, you know what? Hey, but I like to play the safer side, and I know these guys can produce.
Ryan Potts, producer Splash. When you assess your lineups, do you start players based on your projections, higher ceilings, and higher floors? Yeah, I kind of do that when I'm trying to figure out if I want to start a certain guy over another guy. I kind of leave the platform projections out of it. If I need a lot of points, I'll go with the higher ceiling. But if I just want to get by, if I just want to play it safe, the safe floor is always something that I like to attach my fantasy players to. Someone that I know I'm gonna get production out of over somebody that's more boom with the higher ceiling. But man, it's all a risk. You're crunching so much numbers. Projections is not a big thing for me when assessing my lineups because you're just basing it off prior success and the matchup versus the defense and all that. Like, so much can go wrong. The opposing team could score 25 points in the first quarter, and then your projections for your running back on that you got on the other team goes out the window. So I like to play on that the ceiling and floor when I'm deciding between a flex player or a fringe player. How about you, Steph?
I tell all my friends, my fans, everyone that watches the show, or even I just know, projections are what ESPN thinks, like you said, of prior success. It's in fantasy is not like, hey, what'd you do for me last week? It's what are you gonna do for me this week and the circumstance you have right now. So like players like Godwin Igwebuike, he might not have done stuff the last 4 or 5 weeks, but like when it comes to the process of elimination of other players, when you see like what he has done, in limited basis, like what if this guy had like a full workload? Like Javonte Williams, he's one of the guys I prize on like small workload, but like if this guy was given the chance, like he was in Arrowhead, 29 touches, 175 yards and a touchdown, that's what I look at too. I'm like, what has this guy done for me? So players like Rashad Bateman, I mean, I see what he has potential wise, but I don't know what he's going to do for me when it comes to like the actual like floor. Like what is his floor right now? I don't know. What's Javonte Williams' floor right now? I know that more than I know what he does. So it's really projections. I just don't like them because I can have like my first week I had a league and I had the 12th worst draft. They projected me to finish 12th in the league, and I had a projection of like 118. I had 178 that week. So projections to me just I don't care. I've learned to detach myself from that because you can lose a matchup because say one guy's projected 15 and you want to be like, oh, I want to be over the guy by 2 points because I feel better. But no, you got to go with the starts of like the matchups. You got to know who they're playing, if they're the past history, like Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore. You know his history of Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans has never been a good one for him. This last matchup he had was a good one. It was one of those break ones, but usually it's not a good matchup. So you got to do analytics. You got to study for them. Every day I'm looking at my lineup like, why should I start this guy? What has he done for me lately? So it's just a lot of numbers crunching, a lot of like mindsets. So it's not really like a method to it. It's just more how you feel, and you got to just go with your gut sometimes.
That's it, buddy. Mike B, Javonte, J-Rob, or Chubb for running back. Terry McLaurin, T. Higgins, Hunter Renfrow, or Amari Cooper for wide receiver. I think we're picking one out of the bunch. I'm going to go with Nick Chubb here. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars are an absolute gong show. It's a mess. The fact that Urban Meyer's treating these grown men like children, leaving them in the doghouse because they fumbled the ball. It took Trevor Lawrence to go up to the coaching staff to get James Robinson back in the game. Prove your points in practice. Prove your points in other spots. Don't try to prove your points during the game because it just doesn't look good. It seems like it's going to be a one-and-done season for Urban in Jacksonville. The outlook for that team has been no good. I was expecting a little more out of Trevor Lawrence this year, but as soon as we found out who they hired, I was not liking it. I mean, the stuff that's come out. You've seen it, yeah? Where he says he's a winner and he's calling his assistant coaches losers.
That got me like that rubbed me the wrong way. And I look at Urban Meyer, I'm like, you were good in college, I get it, but this is the NFL. Like even Nick Saban failed in the NFL. Yeah. So like it wasn't a big like, I don't know. I kind of like just get him out of here. They're 2-10. We knew they were gonna be bad. Yeah. But to look this bad, at least try. At least like don't bench James Robinson for 26 straight plays because he fumbled one time. You're not Bill Belichick. You don't have that president of clout. Like, you're not gonna bench freaking say like a high-end player because they fumbled because you're just gonna look bad. You're gonna lose more games. It's gonna look uglier, and then the next thing you know, you're gone after 1 year and you're back in college.
Yeah, but the thing with Bill Belichick is you fumble the ball, he's giving you the ball the next play.
But if you fumble again, then you're done.
Exactly. But they're gonna go right back to you. James Robinson is one of their best players on the team, on the offense. To bench him for Carlos Hyde, it kind of screams like, look, guys, he's more worried about looking good as a coach or proving his point than he is about getting the ultimate thing in football, which is the W. So it was heartbreaking to see that. The interview that James Robinson did after, it was just, I don't like what's going on there. So I mean, you could start J-Rob. He's probably going to see a good amount just based on everything that's going on. But I like Chubb there over the other two. And then he said pick 2 wide receivers. I'm going Terry McLaurin and T. Higgins.
I'm going T. Higgins and Amari Cooper. Come on, Cooper. Give me that game again. We missed you. Like, come on.
What's your process of picking a kicker off the waiver? Do you play a lot of kickers? Do you have a process with evaluating kickers?
So to me, kickers are people. But we got into a league now to a point where in my big money league that we are now going to drop kickers after this year. So after this year, I'm not going to answer no more questions because I've been kicked in the butt by kickers. But I always like to go off the teams that kind of suck the most. Teams that don't really finish in the red zone. Teams that like get stopped anywhere between the 40-yard line, depending on the kicker, and then the 10-yard line. Unless you've drafted like I did, Justin Tucker. It's really hard even to draft outside anyone. Like Tucker is kind of like the last guy really on that pendulum of good guys. McManus is there, but he's a waiver wire guy. It's really stadium, weather. It's big really it's and that's offenses. How many times has this offense stalled anywhere between the 40 and the 10-yard line Jacksonville, no. I mean, they saw a lot, but not enough to kick field goals. The Titans, the Lions, the Arizona Cardinals have had a few. So I just look at those credentials to see who I want. But then again, I also like to pick that kicker. I'll pay like a 13th round, 14th round pick for a kicker, so I don't have to worry about who am I going to start? Like, am I going to start Matt Prater or Randy Bullock? Nick Folk is this year was one of the best waiver kicker pickups, and no one would have thought. And he's on a team that doesn't finish in the end zone a lot. And in New England, they're still a good team, but this guy is having a career year.
Yeah.
So it's just really matchup, whether stadium and how the offense sputters or not. So that's really what I like to go in the process of.
Yeah, I'm along the same line of evaluating kickers when I stream them. I'm looking, like you said, weather. I want to try to pick a kicker in a dome, so weather doesn't really have a play in what's going on. Red zone success for the team, red zone success for the defense as well on the opposing side. How good are they at stopping kickers? I mean, maybe it's a little much because the kicker, it's not a big focal point, but it could give you that edge on the week. If you're down by 3, you're down by 2, you're up by 5, a kicker could really make or break your week. So really dive into those kickers if you're streaming them, just like a tight end or a quarterback, any other position that you're streaming on the year. One of my favorite kickers on the year is Evan McPherson. So if he is on your waivers, go pick him up.
And Carlson too has been. Carlson had a 21-point game last week or the week before that.
There's some guys that are just clutch, man. I miss Blankenship this year. He was big for me last season. I kind of miss him this year, but that's a story for another day. RJ Polakowski, do you like Jalen Guyton this week since Keenan Allen is out?
Guyton was one of the guys I had on the draft board in the beginning of the draft, where he was like a dart kind of a guy, last minute kind of a pickup. I think with Mike Williams being active, I think with Donald Parham there, Jared Cook, Austin Eckler, Roundtree, I think Guyton might have like a Travis Benjamin kind of a game. And I say that when I mean like a 50-yard bomb from Herbert that just breaks away from the defense, like a guy that no one really is paying attention to and he breaks out. I mean, if you're looking for like a must win, if he's a receiver too, I kind of would stay away from it. If it's a flex and you need like a boom or bust thing, I would do that. I think he might have a floor of say 10 points because it's really like it's Mike Williams. And Mike Williams is not going to go up there for 20 catches a game. And Keenan Allen leaves at least 12 targets, 13 targets for someone to get there. I think Mike Williams picks up half of that, and I think the other half goes to Jalen Guyton.
Yeah, it's going to be Guyton or Palmer that's going to be catching the balls there for the Chargers with Allen out. Yeah. Start Higgins and Debo or too risky with questionable. You're firing up Debo.
Yeah, and Higgins too. Higgins has, outside of Devontae Adams, has the second best like cornerback to receiver matchup in the league this week. So like this week, I know he had the ankle injury, but they did say it wasn't like a big deal. He did manage to, he got hurt, came out of the game last week, came back in, did what he did, 138 yards, balled out. I think that he's a safe pick. Even like to Debo. Debo's the running back now, basically. He's the Cordero Patterson, the Swiss Army knife of the team. I just think that it's too much of like a high ceiling for you to bench them. I benched Higgins last week, and I paid the piper hard. So I'm not making that mistake again. Ayuk's on my bench again, and Higgins is back in my lineup.
Yeah, Higgins, 14 targets last week, 9 catches, 138 yards with the TD. This week he's playing San Francisco, who over the past 4 weeks is the 5th worst team against the wide receiver. So fire him up. I don't mind starting either or in that matchup. Would you start Darnell Mooney or MVS, Jeff Battistel, my brother from the same mother, wants to know. Darnell Mooney or MVS?
I like MVS, man.
Yeah, this week especially. Yeah.
Mooney's Mooney. Like he was Mooney for me the last few weeks. He was good. He was great. But A-Rob's back. Justin Fields is back. Mm-hmm. And I'm not knocking Justin Fields, but it seems like when Justin Fields is on the field, it doesn't look like he's looking for Darnell Mooney. MVS, on the other hand, I mean, Randall Cobb's out. Allen Lazard hasn't really been much. And MVS is a 6'4" beast. Like he's fast. He's good. He can catch. And I think he's one of Aaron Rodgers' like low-key favorite targets because, like, when the guy needs a 60-yard touchdown run and pass, that's what happens with MVS. So I like him this week. He's one of my sleeper starts that I had as an honorable mention. I wasn't ready to take the leap to say it, but I think over Mooney, it's a safer bet to start him.
Yeah, I got Mooney as a sit this week. I think it's just going to be another one of those David Montgomery games where the guy's going to go off, unless it becomes a shootout versus Green Bay. But Green Bay's defense as of late has been pretty stout. Ryan N. got to pick two of Debo, Lockett, and Sony Michel in PPR. Any thoughts? I'm going Debo and Sony Michel with Darrell Henderson out. We saw what he could do when he took control of the backfield last week. Lockett's also got a plus matchup versus the Houston Texans. So, I mean, if you were to start Lockett over Debo or Sony Michel, which one would you take out of the lineup and start Lockett for there?
It's hard. I mean, I'm not really liking the Seattle offense. I mean, regardless of what they're doing, like you said, it's really Michel. I mean, and Michel, I think last week I was very surprised at what he did. I mean, I saw his numbers. I'm like, wow, I'm kind of mad I wasn't more hype on him. And this week I'm going to be hype on him. I think the offense formation wise said they're going to run through him more. They're going to run more heavy offensive formations. I can't sit Debo. Debo has been nothing but spectacular. I have to sit Lockett. Lockett is a high prize name. I get it. And he might go off today, but I think Debo having the dual position and Michel having the workload, it's kind of hard.
Yeah. Does the groin injury and the fact that he only missed 1 week with it for Debo Samuel scare you at all?
I think because he came out of the game 2 weeks ago early and didn't re-aggravate it. Like, he didn't do like a DeAndre Hopkins where like, oh, I'm hurt. Let me go back in there and hurt it again. Now I'm out 3 weeks. I think they played it safe because we know San Francisco, if you play for that team, we know if you're running back, it's the hardest job. But it seems like if you play any position, you got to make sure like you get out and do not re-injure yourself because that team is riddled with injuries. But I think Debo comes back healthy. He was smart about it. He was a professional about it. He knows he needs to save his longevity for this season, especially because they can still make the playoffs. Yeah. So I think Debo is a safe bet, and they have no running back. So like they're gonna have to lean on him a little bit more heavier. So I have to go Debo, and I'm gonna be confident with this one too.
Trimsy, Cam Newton or Taysom Hill. I love the Hill matchup versus the New York Jets. I also don't mind the Carolina Panthers matchup with Cam Newton. I think he's going to have one of those get right games last week or the week before he was on bye. He was atrocious, throwing 5 for 21.
Yeah.
PJ Walker came in to play some relief. Matt Rule also stated that there might be some opportunity for PJ Walker to play some snaps this week to relieve Cam Newton in some of those positions. So with that, I like Taysom Hill. Trevor Siemian is not going to be coming in to relieve him at all unless they run one of those trick plays or gadget plays where Taysom Hill kind of lines up outside. But I like the way Taysom Hill's running. He's not the best passer. Neither of them are the best passers in the NFL right now. But I like what Taysom Hill brings to the table with his running, especially when he's going downhill. So give me Taysom Hill versus the Jets.
I mean, yeah, I'm going to bandwagon on top of that. We've seen Taysom Hill, and the limited action we've seen him in, what has he done? Cam Newton has thrown four interceptions. Taysom Hill has thrown 4 interceptions. But the difference between both of those games, Taysom Hill still finished as a top 5 QB the week that he threw 4 interceptions because he had 101 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, this guy will make it work in the ugliest way possible. Like, you're like, oh, God, 4 interceptions? This guy had, like, what, a 5-10-point game? No, he had a 29-point game in full league. So I'm starting Taysom Hill. If anything, the rest of the season too. I mean, I don't think the injury to the finger is that big of a deal. This guy's a walking 100-yard day for the rushing, and he's at least a minimum of 2 touchdowns because Cam Jordan's not playing today. I think that defense might have to like get into more of a shootout mode, and Taysom Hill is what Cam Newton should be right now. That's what we want Cam Newton to be, is Taysom Hill. Can't believe I uttered those words out of my mouth, but it's 2021.
Like it. Good luck, Trimsy. Thanks for the question. White Boy Prime, Kyler Murray or Tom Brady? Very good question there. And Gronk or Dawson Knox?
Oh, I just want to go against my bias so bad right now. Kyler Murray. I don't know. They're both against high top matchups. The Rams or the Buffalo Bills. It's like pick your poison. I think I gotta go Kyler Murray. I mean, Brady is Brady. But the thing is outside of last week's performance, Brady hasn't thrown over 3 touchdowns in the last, I think, was it 3 games? He's had a pick in the last 5 games. I think point wise, if you're looking to get in to win it, I think Murray last week threw 11 passes, had 35 fantasy points, had 4 total touchdowns, and led his team to a win. I mean, it can't get any better than that. And I think Gronk also. So I'm going to go Murray and Gronk. Stay away from Brady this week. Stay away from Knox. I haven't had last week. Knox was a dud last week, and we saw exactly why. Belichick took away his big target. I think Bruce Arians takes away Dawson Knox and tries to take away Stephon Diggs, but I'm not too confident in Brady or Knox this week.
Yeah, Brady knows Buffalo, but again, I think Murray's the play here. Buffalo are letting QB score an average of 9.74 fantasy points. Granted, the last game, Mac Jones only threw it 3 times, so let's take that with a little grain of salt.
Yep.
So let's say they're allowing an average 12 points per game to the quarterback. It's in Tampa Bay, but I love Murray and what he brings to the table. I love his upside. Buffalo also has no Tre'Davious White, so that's a big loss. But I agree. I'm going Murray and I'm going Gronk.
I just think the run game, because we saw what the run game did to them last week against Buffalo. They ran the ball 46 times and they produced like great numbers. So I think it's more of a running day in Tampa. It's not going to be any weather. I just think Buffalo, even with Tre'Davious White, kind of stops them pass-wise, but I think the run offense, I think Leonard Fournette and Rojo are going to have a good day this week, though. That's what I think the offense runs through.
Good luck. Keith Bronikowski, Jerry Jeudy, or Darnell Mooney, half PPR?
Ooh, Jerry Jeudy, I think. Because it's Detroit. I mean, and also I think Denver is going to play with a little bit more of a spunk because we know what happened earlier this week with the Demaryius Thomas news. Also, it's really heartbreaking, but I think Denver comes out and just gives them their all. I think Denver sadly will blow them out. And I think it's just a get-right game for Denver after last week. You know, they were putrid. I mean, they didn't do anything except for Javonte Williams. I think Jerry Jeudy is the focal point of that pass offense. I mean, Cortland Sutton was good, but Teddy Bridgewater cannot throw that deep ball. And I think Teddy Bridgewater with the inside game, the short routes, Jerry Jeudy is that guy for him.
Yep.
And just Mooney's not a good name for us this week.
Not this week. Yep. I like it. Good luck, Keith. Trimsy, Rams defense or Panthers defense? I'm going to go Panthers defense versus Atlanta here. I do not like the matchup for the Rams on Monday night. So give me Panthers defense there.
Yeah, that kind of goes without saying. I think that Rams defense and the Arizona defense this week are sits. I think that's a shootout of a game. I think the Rams do kind of edge out the win. So I think that, but I just don't want to trust this team because they're both high-powered offenses. So they could easily score 30 points on each other. And you're looking at like a -1 stat line in your defense. You're like, wow. And it's Atlanta against Carolina. That's not going to be like a slaughter fest. It's going to be maybe like a close game, but I think defenses in that game will make a big difference.
Yep, I agree.
Ooh, David Johnson's out.
Ooh, so who's the pickup there?
I don't want to say Rex Burkhead. I don't want to say
Rex. Sexy Rexy? Holy, that's a big one. That is a big out.
Yep, COVID has hit another one.
Holy, it's been a tough week. I mean, man, it's been a tough week.
Who else?
Tough week.
Splash. Who is on that roster right now outside of like Rex
Scotty
Burkhead?
Phillips?
Man, I don't know. I mean, it's I can't even look it up right now because I don't even know. I think if you have to start Rex Burkhead, start him. I just don't know what you're gonna get from him. So good luck.
Yeah. Oh man, it is not good. It's tough. It's another guy out. David Johnson. I mean, how did they figure that out right before the game?
See, that's what I don't understand. Like I'm looking at it might be a close contact. It might be he tested positive. I don't know. It seems more this year there's more of an issue with the COVID than it was last year. Like last year it was Royce Freeman. Yo. Yeah. Royce rejoice. Let me go ahead. Yeah, Royce Freeman has been in his last start had 3 carries. do you start Royce Freeman, Chris? Like, if you had to choose, if there was a gun to your head, Royce Freeman, Sexy Rexy, who are you going with? Like,
I'm going Sexy Rexy, man. Just
okay.
because of his pass catching chops. That's pretty much it for me, man.
You can tell just by the way he says it. You just know we're not confident. So if you have to start them, may God be with you. But if you don't have to start out of Houston, don't start anyone in Houston.
Davis Mills is the starting quarterback, so I'm not expecting a whole lot. I'm not expecting a whole lot out of that offense this week at all. So I don't like either or. But if I had to pick one, I think I'm going Rex Burkhead.
I think I'm gonna double down on that one. And don't be surprised though if Royce Freeman does do something, but I don't expect him to do anything.
Yeah, it's not anyone that I would trust in a do or die situation. That's for sure. Let's see. Yeah, Alvin Kamara back in the lineup. I'm excited for that. Perfect timing.
I think that makes you guys a lot more of a prolific offense. I think that's the reason why they haven't been as consistent. And, you know, without Alvin Kamara, that's a Saints team that without him, it's like, God, we need this guy.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get to some start sits of the week. Our week 14 must starts and probably sits. We've been pretty good. I think at the end of the year, I'm gonna go through it all and check out what our percentages were. This week, you're firing up Amari Cooper, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. Tell the people why they should be comfortable putting in Amari Cooper, who has been on the struggle side.
That.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been riding the struggle bus the last 2 games. I don't know what it is. I think it's that sickness. He had the COVID and the COVID out. After he came back, though, he did clear the COVID protocol. He said he wasn't feeling as well as he should be. So he wasn't 100%. So, of course, I'm not going to expect him to come out. I can barely get out of bed when I'm sick. So do I expect this 27-year-old guy to come out and play a whole football game after having, a sickness? No. I think now is the game. It's against the Washington football team. And I woke up this morning. I looked on Twitter. I like to see everything up to date. And I saw the entire bench was filled like it was a Cowboys game. Did you see that? The Cowboys went in there, filled their bench up like it was a home game. And I think this is a get-right game for Amari Cooper. I think Dak Prescott finally goes, hey, this is my receiver one. This is the guy that we traded from Oakland. This is the guy that's going to have 7 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. I don't care what he had the last 2 games. 3 games ago, he had 27 points. He was Amari Cooper 3 games ago when he was healthy. He wasn't sick. I think we come back to it, and I think he comes back on the map because there's been a lot of slander about Amari Cooper, and I will not take that slander for this receiver.
No Amari Cooper slander. I like it. Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable plugging him in my lineups just based on the offense that he's in, but he has been struggling as of late. So fire him up if you got him and don't hesitate. My start of the week running back is Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are allowing the 3rd most fantasy points to the running backs on the year. He's been pretty much splitting time with Darrell Williams. In week 13, he saw 9 more touches than Williams when he was on the field. So when he's on the field, even though they are splitting it at almost a 50-50% share, he's getting the ball. He's the back to own. He had 17 touches last game, produced 83 yards. He's got just a bit. If he gets a little bit more of an uptick in the snap share, he could definitely enter that top 12 RB scoring on the week. Vegas is allowing 100 yards and just under a TD to opposing running backs on the year. But what makes him a must start is that Vegas is equally as bad versus the pass catching running backs, allowing just under 6 catches, 40 yards to the pass catchers on the season. So they're very effective versus that Raiders defense. My week 14 projection for Clyde the Glide, 12 carries, 70 yards, 5 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown, either catching or rushing. So a great day for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Julio Jones is active, so proceed with caution. one of ours, especially Steph's go-to advice is try not to start a guy unless you absolutely need to, that is coming fresh off the IR. You got to let him get his game legs under him, and you got to let him get hit, get him. He's been gone for a while too, right? So
how long has it been? Like 6 weeks now, almost, since he's been gone?
it feels like that. It definitely feels like it feels like 14 weeks because it hasn't really felt like he's been in at all. Even when he's been in, he's been almost non-existent.
Exactly.
I think he's got one TD on the year, is that right? And one callback TD.
Yeah, I think ever since that Seattle game, like that was a touchdown, by the way. I mean, I've seen it in every angle. That was a touchdown, but you know what? That's a different week. I don't know if he's like, if this is the week where he does well because they held him extra, because you know how some teams want to, oh, we got to get this guy back, we need this guy in the field, or is it like, hey, he could have played last week, but we want to make sure he doesn't play, you know? So if you have to win, and you know, start Julio Jones, I think he could be a decent play, but I like to always side and caution and just make sure that I don't want to get burned by the guy who's not going to play that many snaps, because we don't know what that Titans offense is going to look like with only a Julio Jones.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, you are sitting this week. We talked about it a little bit at the top. I asked for some advice on the situation, but you're sitting the whole backfield for the Seattle Seahawks. Let us know why we can't trust Rashad Penny, Alex Collins, or DJ Dallas.
So remember when Derrick Henry went out and we were like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And Adrian Peterson comes in. Then we have Jerry McNichols in. Then we have Donta Foreman in. And they did nothing. I think this running back room, regardless if they're going against Houston, it's not going to happen. I think if they're all being used, they're going to produce one great stat line. But individually, you're gonna just sit there and just take the hammer and just hit yourself like, why did I start these guys? Penny, I love the guy. I'm not making fun of him, but he's made of glass. Alex Collins is like 5 years past where he's supposed to be. AP's got a back issue for carrying the team last week. I mean, unless they have a fake punt for another touchdown, Homer's not going to do anything. I don't see
Homer's out.
Okay, Homer's out. So there you go. I don't even know what this stat line could look like right now. Seattle's such a they're like in Home Alone. You know when they're running around because they woke up too late and they're like, oh my god, we gotta go to the airport. This is what their backfield looks like. They're like scattering for they're looking for their one guy. They're looking for Kevin and they can't find him. So I think just stay away from them. Don't give me this running back room. Don't ask me questions because I'm going to tell you to sit all three of them. I don't trust it. I don't like it. And you can't give me one good reason to start these guys. So,
yeah, I mean, I can give you one good reason, Steph. The only good reason is that they're playing the Texans. And if they get big up on the Texans, one of them could have a decent day. But picking the one out of the bunch, good luck, man.
You have a 33.33% chance to get that right. And I don't like anything that's 33%.
Yeah, I agree. White Boy Prime, one more. Devonta Freeman or Jeff Wilson Jr.?
Oh, give me Devonta Freeman, man. That guy has been such an underrated player this year. And I love what Harbaugh has done to bring his career back. Even if it's for 1 year, this is the year to be ugly with it. I keep saying I'm going to keep hammering into you guys' heads. Sexy names don't always win you leagues. It's the ugly guys. It's the ones that you just got to be like, hey, you know what? I'm rolling with Devonta Freeman over Jeff Wilson. And Jeff Wilson, I like the guy, but it just doesn't seem like they want to give him the ball yet. And with Debo there, he could get the rushing touchdowns. I mean, Debo is a good running back, one of the best running backs on that team.
Yeah, so. I agree. And the Browns over the past 4 weeks have allowed the 11th most points to the running back, averaging 24.8 points per game. So they've been finding success against that Cleveland defense. Petition to make Debo a running back wide receiver for fantasy. He is in some
Yahoo?
Yeah, Yahoo Sleeper. He has the double designation. Yahoo, I believe he has the double designation. I don't know about
ESPN. I know ESPN doesn't. And if we're gonna start this petition for Debo, I think we've got to chalk him down a notch, and we got to put my boy up there that's been doing it all year long. I've been harassing ESPN, Matthew Berry, Field Yates. Give me the double designation for Cordarrelle Patterson. He's the actual one. I think they both deserve a double designation. I think if you play any running back snaps over 50% or even have a certain amount of carries on the season, you should be granted that double position.
Yeah,
ESPN doesn't like to be cool. Yahoo is a better league at way. That's why I prefer Yahoo. It's like, hey, I can play Cordero Patterson as a receiver, and I can put my other running backs in. I could put Debo as receiver or running back.
Yeah.
It's like the tight end situation last year with Taysom Hill. I was one of the lucky ones to start Taysom Hill as a tight end and got me 25 points and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that one is a little on the fence.
I loved it, though.
I don't mind the running back wide receiver one.
How do you feel about that, though? Like, let's go back in time to last year. Say we're playing each other. I pick up Taysom Hill and I could start him as a tight end, but he's a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Is that something that your league should go against, or is it because they allow it on ESPN that it's a legal move?
If they allow it, it's legal, man. It's no harm, no foul there. It's if you know, don't sleep, don't get caught snoozing. You snooze, you lose at that point, right? So if he has the double designation and you want to plug him in as a tight end and he plays most of the snaps quarterbacks that day, then you know those are the breaks. So what are you gonna do, buddy?
Exactly.
What are you gonna do? Corey Johnson, flex, Jeff Wilson Jr., Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Julio Jones, or Rex Burkhead. We just found out David Johnson is back. Let's work backwards here on this question. So who's the first guy you take out of this situation?
Rex Burkhead.
Rex Burkhead, yeah.
I just don't like it. I'm not confident enough.
Yep. I like MVS here. I'm not too sure if I trust any running back in that 49ers backfield, especially with Debo back. They could see nice days. So I'm taking out Rex. I'm taking out Wilson. And then for me, it's between MVS and Julio Jones. I don't like playing like we say often. I don't like playing the guy coming off IR. So give me MVS in this spot.
I'm not going to go against my own saying or my own like philosophy on this, but I think that MVS has the higher ceiling. He's the receiver too. Like I said, this guy's 6 feet. He's basically Julio, but like the dollar store version of Julio. Like you'll get a good value out of him. He's not like the big name that Julio is. He's not like, you know, you go to like the supermarket and pay $20 for Julio. I mean, MVS can get you the easiest game that Julio can. You can see MVS for 6 catches, 85 yards, and like that big touchdown, or even like that dinky touchdown. This guy is it's almost like a freak of nature. Like he is tall, he's lengthy, he can go up and grab it. He's the old school Julio type receiver where you just throw him a deep ball and he will go over any DB and just give me that. So MVS, like I said, I like him this week. I don't know why this week out of all weeks I like him the most, but I'm going with MVS over Julio. Sorry, Julio, I love you, but you haven't done anything for me lately.
Good. I like it. Ryan Potts, Ty Johnson, the GOAT, or Jamar Jefferson. We know Tevin Coleman's out. I don't like the matchup at all versus the Saints. I know the Jets as a whole are missing a ton of players on the offense, so I'm not expecting a whole lot out of that, especially fantasy-wise, out of that Jets offense. So for me, it's between Jamar Jefferson and Godwin, Igwebuike. I got it right there.
There you go.
Give myself the old Barry Horowitz. Man, it's a dart throw at this point of who's going to have the better day. I think if I'm picking upside, I'm going with Godwin just because of his pass catching abilities. I think he'll have more of a role in that sense. But I mean, against Denver, the matchup sucks. So give me Godwin here.
Yeah, Ty Johnson, I like you. You know, you're a good PPR back. You can catch the ball, but I think the first half, Godwin Igwebuike could be the guy that we want. I mean, it is Denver. They have a good run defense, like you said. They're almost all the same player. It's just a matter of what's the game script going to be for them. Is it going to be a blowout in the Jets game? Is it going to be a blowout in the Lions game that everyone expects it to be this week? I got to start Igwebuike. I think he's a big pound the rock kind of a back. Like he's the workhorse, so I think he sees more volume. If they get down to the 5-yard line, he could savage himself a touchdown. If not, then I think Jamar Jefferson might be like a pass catching back. But if I had to throw a dart, I'm gonna go with Igwebuike. I think it's just like I said, volume's there and he looks good, but it's an ugly situation anyways. So
what is he, like 6'2", 210?
Yeah, he's a
boy, man.
Yeah. What are they feeding this guy, you know?
Dirty money, Zach Ertz or Dalton Schultz this week?
Oh, I'm going Dalton Schultz this week. That's my boy. That was one of my favorite pickups of the waiver wire. I just think that him and Dak Prescott have that rapport together. It's going to be one of those cold games in DC. I think that entire pass offense comes back to what they were. And I think he has a decent stat line. I don't know what Ertz is going to do. I think Hopkins is back. You got AJ Green. You got Christian Kirk. You got Rondell Moore. You have James Conner. Like, you see where I'm going with this one.
Yeah.
So I just don't trust it because there's so many mouths to feed. And Kyler Murray rushes the ball himself. And I think Chase Edmonds is back, or they designated him to come back.
Yeah, I don't know if he's playing. But yeah, I like Schultz here. I don't like the matchup that much, but I think you'll see more volume. The Washington football team has been playing stout defense.
Yep.
They've been winning ugly. It's a big matchup for both teams here. But I like the volume play over what Ertz is going to see in that offense. Good luck, man. Jeffrey Badsdell, Noah Fant or Foster Moreau? No Darren Waller. We were expecting Moreau to have a better day last week, but he was non-existent. Noah Fant he's in one of those situations where he's on the field a lot. He gets targeted very minimal. He was a start for me last week, but he just didn't show up for us. So I like I like the matchup for Fant against Detroit. I don't like the matchup versus Kansas for Foster Moreau. So just based on the matchup here, I'm going to lean towards Fant.
Noah Fant. I don't know what to make of Noah Fant as like a tight end. I don't know what to make of him as a player. I don't know what to make of him as a fantasy player. He's drafted every year at a high level, and he just disappoints every year. Foster Moreau, again, you disappointed me last year. I was high on you. I had you in a few leagues. You didn't do well. But I think I have a feeling that this is like the game that he does come back. I think Foster Moreau, because you can't go this many games without giving it to your tight end. I know he's not Darren Waller, but he's the closest thing to Darren Waller for them. Yeah. And you can't just feed Hunter Renfrow 30 targets a game. You can't feed Bryan Edwards, Zay Jones. And first of all, Josh Jacobs is not going to get 9 catches again. Like, that was just a crazy stat line from last week. I think Foster Moreau has a decent, top 15 week. Noah Fant, you had 2 catches for 33 yards last week. Like, get yourself together.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's Teddy Bridgewater because in that little noodle arm he's got going on or whatever, but they just don't like him. They don't like Noah Fant, and he's a big tight end. But I think Foster Moreau is the guy I want to go with this week.
Good luck, Jeff. Cam Newton or Ryan Tannehill?
Oh God, go on your waivers and get someone else, man.
I mean, I like Cam Newton for the bounce back here over Tannehill. He does have that rushing upside. My only worry is that if he struggles early, and because the Panthers want to try to win because they are 5-7 on the year, they still got an outside shot to the playoffs. My only worry is that they pull the plug on Cam Newton early. If he goes 2 for 7, if he struggles early in the passing game, I could definitely see them pulling the plug and yanking him. Ryan Tannehill's not going to have that. They're not going to pull Ryan Tannehill. The fact he's getting Julio back, he's got a bit of a run game behind him. He doesn't have Derrick Henry, but Hilliard and Foreman are definitely capable of carrying the load. So give me Ryan Tannehill. I think Ryan Tannehill has a better day.
I think, like I said, it's that Ryan Fitzpatrick to laugh from last year. Like, you don't know, is Cam Newton going to come out and throw 2 touchdowns and be okay? Or, there's a reason that they have PJ Walker getting ready to, get into the game. They have packages for him because they trust Cam Newton, but they don't actually fully 100% trust him. They're like, hey, you're our starter, I think. But, hey, PJ, just make sure you're ready to go. Yeah. Ryan Tannehill, if he's going to suck, he's going to suck, and he's going to suck the entire 1 through the 4th quarter. Julio's back. And I'm going to give you guys a stat line that might not sound correct, but it's correct. The Titans' rush game has actually averaged between all the guys that have been in a 4.69 yards per attempt. Ooh. And with Derrick Henry was a 4.29. So you're telling me that 5 other running backs have been able to accumulate a little better numbers than the one beast himself. I
Who
think
they're
that's what.
projecting to come back week 18. Did you see
Oh, if he can come
that?
back week 17, I have him in IR. Oh, I'm starting him like this. Like I got goosebumps when I read that this one. I'm like,
Yeah.
please do what George Kittle did for everyone last year.
Yeah.
This is why you don't drop these guys until you know, hey, this guy will not come back this year. Because if you drop a guy like Derrick Henry and you look at it on waivers, someone's going to pick him up like, I have a free IR spot. Let me stash him. And next thing you know, you're playing the guy you picked third overall and dropped. And this guy now is going to play him against you and has the potential to beat you. Because if Derrick Henry can play, he's going to have the game he always has. He played through that injury, that foot injury, up until I think the fourth quarter and then got taken out.
Yeah.
So this guy is not human. He is the king for a reason. So if you dropped him, go pick him up just in case he comes back week 17. Because if he does, and he could save your season and your championship, but if he doesn't, at least you take away that scenario that could happen if he does come back. So I looked at him in all my leagues. I have him in my IR spot. Everyone else has kept him in their IR spot, so I didn't luck out on that one. Don't be the guy to drop Derrick Henry because you don't ever know.
That's true.
But yeah, true. I think Ryan Tannehill has a game regardless of what happens. I don't trust Cam Newton. I love the guy, but he's back and now he's gone.
He's back and then he's benched. Let's get to another sit of the week for me. Darnell Mooney versus the Green Bay Packers. Mooney's going to take a step back, at least for this week, versus Green Bay defense that has been stout this season, ranking as the 15th best defense versus the wide receiver. Allen Robinson is also coming back onto the field. Yeah, exactly. Onto the field as well. He's got Justin Fields coming back, who's shown flashes through the season, but has been inconsistent at best. I'm not expecting too much out of him coming back from injury. That's Justin Fields. It's going to be, for me at least, a David Montgomery type game. They're going to lean on that running game. So it's projected to be a decent weather day, 32 degrees, 13 mile per hour winds. So that might have a bit of an effect. That might change going into Sunday night. But I'm expecting for pass catching duties, he should have decent targets. I got him at about 6 targets, 4 catches, 55 yards. So nothing spectacular. You're looking at about a 7 to 6 point day, depending on your scoring. If it's a standard scoring, you're looking at 5.5. So nothing that great, nothing that warrants a start. He has been definitely startable over the past few weeks, but the matchup, Allen Robinson coming back, Fields coming back. I kind of liked him a little better with Andy Dalton under center. But for me, at least this week, Darnell Mooney is a sit.
I love Darnell Mooney. I mean,
me too, man.
I mean, listen, like it's like those players that you have like that window to start them, and if you don't start them within that certain window, the time it's gone, and then you try to start them like, oh, he'll do good again this week. And he does. You're like, oh, I knew I should have started him. That's what Darnell Mooney is. That's why I love that sit that you had. I wanted to take it from you, but I was like, you know what? You could have that one because I started him Thanksgiving. I started him before Thanksgiving, and he did well. I mean, someone told me like, hey, just edge him out after. Last week didn't do much. This week, I believe the same thing. I mean, if you don't start these guys when you're supposed to, and then you try to force start them, it doesn't always end up well. And I think Darnell Mooney is the epitome of that. And they have this new receiver. He looks pretty good. Allen Robinson. I don't know if you guys have heard of him before. He looks like a number one receiver. He acts like a number one receiver, but he's not. But I think that he just takes away the volume of what Darnell Mooney could have had because without him in the game, he was seeing 9 targets, 10 targets a game, 6, 7 catches, 130 yards every game.
Yep. I think with Mooney too, you're hoping for garbage time, right? You're hoping for a garbage time, and you're hoping that they can move the ball during garbage time. So.
And Jair Alexander is back.
Yeah,
their number one corner. So that just doesn't and he's not going to guard Allen Robinson because he's no longer that Allen Robinson of old. He's going to be on Darnell Mooney. He's going to be on Allen Robinson sometimes, but it just doesn't scream a good matchup when Aaron Rodgers owns the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get to another start for you, your QB start of the week. This guy's been struggling. You might see it as a surprise that he's on our start list, but he's been struggling the past little bit. We talked about him a little bit with Josh on Tuesday there, Josh Larkey. But your QB start of the week is none other than Kansas City Chief quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
I am not the biggest Mahomes fan. I like the guy. He's a great asset to the league. He's what we need in the NFL. And one thing will not take is the Mahomes slander. I won't hype him up to the god level, but like stop with the slander. This guy has receivers that don't know how to catch. Tyreek Hill forgot how to catch. Travis Kelce last week forgot how to catch. Like, what do you like? These guys aren't helping his cause. But the little sprinkle on top of that is against the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas 3 weeks ago, he had 55 fantasy points in full out leagues. He had 5 touchdowns and 406 yards when his receivers knew how to actually catch the ball. Pringle, where's Hardman? I don't know where he's been at. He's just been like MIA. Tyreek Hill is not going to continue to drop the easiest catches. Like last week, I watched Tyreek Hill catch a few catches. I'm like, okay, he's good. But then he had those drops where like if he catches that, he's gone.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, I don't know what's going on with Travis Kelce this last week, but he looked like he was a mediocre tight end, and he's not. This team is not. It's not. They don't suck, but they're not like what we're used to. And I think Mahomes comes back. I think he has his Mahomes-esque game in a division game against the Kansas City Chiefs or the Las Vegas Raiders that they need to win in Arrowhead. I'm looking at Mahomes to come back, 4 touchdowns, 350 yards, give me 20 rushing yards. And I think that all that, Mahomes is not startable, is Mahomes top 10, is out the window. This is the week he comes back. And I think going forward, they know they have to start winning these games because Denver, the Chargers, and Raiders are right on their tail for that spot. So if they do slip up, and I think Mahomes knows, hey, we have to get our crap together. Tyreek Hill's not going to be dropping passes like that every week. Kelsey's not going to be dropping passes like that every week. Everyone else, I can't speak for the other guys, but those 2 studs, Clyde, and like you said, Clyde Edwards-Helaire being back, I think can help him because when they have no run game, you just know they're going to pass the ball. But when they have 2 running backs that can run the ball 17, 20 times, that opens up Mahomes to have those Mahomes type of plays where he's throwing it 20 yards down the field to Tyreek Hill because of busted coverage. So I'm not taking no slander from Mahomes this week. I love the guy this week. I love the matchup. He's at home, and it's just the Vegas Raiders. He owns the Vegas Raiders as well. And I think he's going to own them with that 4 touchdown, 350-yard game. And you can book that.
Ooh, book it. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Start for me this week. Wide receiver, Los Angeles Rams. Van Jefferson taking over that wide receiver 2 role for the Rams, seeing 7.75 targets over the last 4 games and the touchdown over the last 2. Van Jefferson has become the wide receiver we were hoping for about 5 to 6 weeks ago. I said it again. I said at the top, I'll say it again. He's taking over that wide receiver 2 role in that offense. It goes Kupp, Jefferson, and then OBJ. The volume to Van shouldn't waver or wander either. He has become a bigger part of the Rams' offensive strategy and a focal point in the red zone, tallying 14 targets, which makes him top 2 at the position. His previous matchup versus Arizona, he saw 6 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown. So I'm expecting another big day out of Van Jefferson. Week 14 projection, 5 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown, which is going to give you a nice day. You most likely have the guy in your flex, so he could definitely be the guy that gets you the win. All right, Stefan, we got a couple more of these, and then we're gonna head into our juicier stuff, our bold sits and our sleeper starts. Moving on to one of your starts of the week. We've been high on this guy for quite a while. You called it last week when he said he would finish as the RB1 on the week, and that is Denver running back Javonte Williams. With Melvin Gordon coming back into the fold, why should fantasy managers feel confident plugging in Javonte Williams?
So Javonte Williams had the monster game that we finally wanted. We saw what it looks like when he touches the ball over 20 times. He is a stud. He is a top 2 round next year running back. Dynasty, he is the running back to own. Once Melvin Gordon's gone, it's Javonte Williams and just the rest of the boys. This week, I think everyone's going to be like, oh, but Melvin Gordon's back. Yes, he's back. I personally believe that the split will be no 50-50 stuff this week. I think Denver's like, hey, wow, this guy's actually good. Why didn't we do this the entire year? We could have won more games. Now they're like, okay, it's the Detroit Lions. It's a game that might get out of hand really fast, and I think Javonte Williams will get the bulk of the carry. I think it's more of a 65-35 Javonte's favor. I mean, the guy had 29 carries, 29 touches, like 29 touches for what, 220 yards and or 175 yards, and like, what? This guy's a monster. This guy is the workhorse back for that Denver Bronco offense. I think Melvin Gordon comes back, but he's not going to see what he wants. And I think Denver has finally come to their senses like, hey, if we actually want a legit playoff run, we need to work behind this running back because he opens up the pass game for them. I'm projecting, against a favorable matchup, at least 20 touches. I'm going to give him another 100-yard game. I'm just so high on this guy because he's such a stud. I'm gonna go on the touchdown side, on the rushing side, more the receiving side. Give me 20 carries, 100 yards rushing, and a touchdown. I think Denver just is like, oh, the light bulb, oh my God, wow, this guy is the guy. And again, I think Denver this week is just going to annihilate the Lions. I think they're going to play with more heart in their souls this week. I think this is the game that they come out and they go, listen, this is a must-win game for obvious reasons, and Javonte Williams will be the reason for that win for them this week.
Yeah, I like the start. I love the start. He was great last week for fantasy managers. I hope you listened to us and plugged him into your lineups. I mean, you're almost crazy not to put him in there, but having him finish as the RB1, and he could have scored a ton more points.
Oh my God, I know.
Mike Boone did play a little bit, but it's Javonte's backfield. Joey Perps, pick 2, full PPR, Lockett, Evans, or Debo. I like Debo and Lockett here in the full PPR.
I like Evans and Debo this one. I think Evans because Tre'Davious White's out, and I think they've got 2 receivers that it's like, hey, you want to guard Mike Evans? All right, here's Chris Godwin. I think because they're so interchangeable, Buffalo's not going to know who to really guard. So I think Evans could have a decent, 6 catches for 80 and a touchdown. I think Debo is just a fire up start no matter what. I don't care about the injury this week. I think this is the only injury they played safe because they were caution with him. They got out early, made sure he wasn't going to re-aggravate it. Lockett is the epitome of what have you done for me? Lockett, that whole offense hasn't done much. So I just don't know what to think about them. I mean, he had a good game last week, right? Against the 49ers. He had that touchdown in the corner of the end zone. I just think we're hyping up this offense against a very, very favorable matchup against Houston. I mean, I just don't like Lockett this year. I think Evans and Debo have been more consistent. I mean, they're more on page with their quarterbacks than Tyler Lockett is.
Yeah.
So that's why I would pick those 2.
Fair enough. I don't think you can go wrong with starting either.
Of
those 3 there, but
yeah, these guys that ask these questions have such good situations.
Yeah.
If I showed you my waiver wire in one of my leagues, you're like, oh God.
Yeah. I like it though. I like it. I like to see people succeed in fantasy football, man.
Oh yeah.
Another start from start of the week for me. Tight end, Dallas Cowboys, Dalton Schultz. He's seeing a steady amount of targets in that Dallas Cowboys passing game, 71 targets on the year. He holds a 15% target share in an offense that is first in yards passing per game. I mean, a 15% target share on a team with Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. You got Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott catching balls out of the backfield. So that's a decent number for a tight end. It's a decent number for a guy in that type of offense. But the Dallas Cowboys are known to pass the ball all over the field. He has been Dak Prescott's safety blanket over the past few weeks. He's when he checks down, he's looking for Schultz. He's looking for him in the red zone, especially. Washington is middle of the pack in terms of points against versus the position. They're allowing only 4 TDs to tight ends so far on the year, but it's the volume here that makes Schultz a start heading into the playoffs for you guys. Since week 7 in 4 of his 6 games played, Dalton Schultz has held a 97% snap share. The dude just doesn't leave the field. There's no one behind him to take those tight end snaps. Blake Jarwin's on the IR. I think the next guy is it Noah? Noah Gray? Or no?
Yeah, the guy last week was
KC.
scored, right?
Yeah,
Who's the
yeah.
guy? Yeah.
That's KC. It's Noah. I forget his name, but he's not Noah Brown. Noah Brown.
Yeah, I
But
think he's at like what,
he's
3%?
out. Yeah, he's out. He's out this week as well. Yeah, I'm expecting big things for Dalton Schultz. My week 14 projection, 5 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown. So a top 10 tight end on the day. We got another question here from Javi Iguabuke, Donta Foreman, or trust Aaron Jones?
Big trust.
Big trust. I like
Big
it.
trust.
Big trust Aaron Jones. Yeah.
This is the cliche Aaron Jones game. You know, it's like a primetime night game. You're phasing him out like, where's Aaron Jones been? This boy it's actually funny because 1 year ago today, I'm sitting in a bar, or 2 years ago, I think today, I'm sitting at a bar watching the Vikings and the Packers games, and it was like some Aaron Jones slander. And I think he went for like 3 touchdowns and over 125 yards rushing. This, I think, is like the stars are aligning for Aaron Jones to come back healthy. Everyone's writing him out. This is the big trust Aaron Jones breakout game, and that one you can book it. I won't say book it for all of them unless I'm confident, but I'm confident Aaron Jones is back and he will produce for you top 5 RB numbers.
I like it. Kahuna Gizmo, pick 2. Sony Michel, Darnell Mooney, or Chuba Hubbard. I think I'm going Sony Michel and Hubbard here. Hubbard's going to see a good amount of volume in that offense. He might get vultured by Cam Newton in the red zone, but he's still going to see a good amount of touches. And then we all saw what Sony Michel can do without Darrell Henderson there. So Darnell Mooney is a sit of the week for me for the wide receiver. So I like Sony Michel and Chuba Hubbard there.
Yeah, I like the outer ends of that one. Running backs to me. And Chuba is a good running pass catching back too.
Yep.
So you get double the value. And like you said, Mooney is just, we don't hate you. We just don't like you this week.
Yeah. I like that there. You got to sit your QB sit of the week. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. He does have an injured hand. We don't know how much that's going to come into effect into his play, but you're sitting him this week, buddy.
Listen, I love Macaulay Culkin. You know, he's a good quarterback. He's not bad, but man, that finger scares me. Last week he was good, but I don't know if he's gonna continue that. It's a cold weather game. You know, if he gets hit one time on that finger, it's gonna hurt 10 times worse because it's freezing cold in Cincinnati today. I think they rely more on the run game. I know that Mixon has been out this last week with the head cold. It wasn't COVID related. The neck injury, they said, wasn't a big issue. I just don't trust him this week to like be the top 5 or top 6 guy that he usually should be. I'm okay with benching him if you have someone else a higher upside. I think he goes for 2 touchdowns. I think maybe 200-yard game, but I don't know. That injury kind of scares me because it's not like, you know, it's a finger injury on your throwing arm. It's not like it's his left hand where he can, you know, like mask it. It's your throwing arm. So that can affect the way the ball comes out, the way the spiral is. And if it's windy and it's cold there, I think it's easier for him to hand it off with his left hand. I don't think he's going to be that much of a dud. I just don't think he warrants a start compared to, say, other quarterbacks. And I think if you have Joe Burrow, you also have someone else on your bench, like a second quarterback on your bench just in case. If he's a little bit better, if he has a better matchup, I'm starting him over Burrow. But this is the week I don't really like to see Joe Burrow on my lineups.
Yep, I don't hate it at all, man. He's up and down. He could come out and have a solid week, but I think they kind of lean on the running game in the cold weather.
Yeah.
Sit of the week for me, wide receiver Brandon Cooks of the Houston Texans. I'm gonna make this easy for you, Davis Mills, and that's the end of the analysis there. In his last 3 games, Cook has just 8 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. He's not going. He hasn't gone over 50 yards through that time. He was added to the injury report on Friday with a back injury. Carrying that offense is definitely going to cause that. His projection takes a hit in that stale offense. I'm not looking for Brandon Cooks to have a big day today. He was startable, but now he lacks any real fantasy punch for people plugging him in. Again, Davis Mills is starting. Brandon Cooks is active, but he was limited on Friday with a back injury. I'm not expecting anything from the guy this week. It hasn't been good over the past few weeks. And I like to break down my analysis into quarters. And the past quarter, he just hasn't been there. He hasn't shown up. So the fact that he's injured, he's playing Seattle that's trying to get right. He's got Davis Mills throwing him the ball. It's not a recipe for success. So in that inept offense, my projections for Brandon Cooks, 4 catches, 40 yards. Nothing too crazy there. Yep. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know if he's gonna finish the game. We got a couple more sits here. Your sit is inactive, so it's pretty easy for you. Tony Pollard is out for the Dallas Cowboys today. If you had to throw a dart, if you needed a desperation play, are you comfortable starting Corey Clement, the only other running back to have any carries in that backfield other than Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard? Are you?
You just love to give me these hard questions. But, I'm gonna be honest. So when we do our starts and sits, we do them before we know they're injured. You know, I knew he had an injury. It's a torn. Was it a torn? He had tore something, I think. And I'm like, this guy's not gonna play. And this is like
plantar fasciitis.
Okay, yeah, that anything if I see anything torn on a running back, I'm already gonna assume he's gonna be out. Like I said, this was a Wednesday thing. I'm not starting Tony Pollard. I told everyone. I went on the app. Hey, have any questions? This one guy hit me up like, do I start Pollard or do I start Ezekiel Elliott? I'm like, I wouldn't start Pollard. He's gonna be out. He's like, wait, he's gonna be out, and he got the injury news right after. Corey Clement. Oh, he's an Eagles running back. You know, like that. Like that's still in my head. I think that Zeke Elliott gets the full workload. I think Corey Clement comes in there for maybe like a 10% snap share of the game. They were saying, oh, Zeke's still 3 to 4 weeks away from being healthy. I don't believe that BS. I think they're trying to undermine it. I think Zeke comes out with a full workload, has RB2 numbers. I don't trust Corey Clement to do anything. I think maybe a pass here or there, a few rushes here and there, but I wouldn't throw that dart, especially in week 14. If this is like week 2 to week 6, where it's like, okay, if I get a loss, it's not going to kill my season. But if I don't and he does well, it saves me a game. I think the stakes are too high for week 14. You have too much to lose on Corey Clement, the backup. He's not Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is a once, like he fits for that team because he is that kind of a player. He's that guy. Corey Clement, you're not that guy.
Yeah.
So I think it's the Zeke Elliott show with a sprinkle, like, you know, when you not trying to put too much salt on your food. That's Corey Clement. I think the A1 steak sauce is Zeke Elliott, but I think the little salt on top of that is Corey Clement. I don't.
A little relief. Don't trust it.
Yeah, don't trust the guy.
We got a question here. Dane Souter, Russell Gage or Julio Jones? I'm going to go Julio Jones here. I love the matchup versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have been saying try not to start guys off the IR, but matchup versus the Jags here is what I'm going to go with over Russell Gage versus the Panthers. The Panthers are pretty stout against the wide receivers on the year, and the Jaguars are not. So give me Julio there.
Yeah, this is not 2020 where they were both on the same team and Russell Gage was receiver too. Like, it was crazy last year with both of them, but I'm going to go against my own, philosophy. I will go Julio Jones. I mean, I think we're all kind of in awe of the Russell Gage, like 131 or 130-yard game. Don't forget, this guy also has produced more goose eggs than 100-yard games. So just keep that in mind. And in Carolina, it has Stephon Gilmore. Those boys are a good defensive unit. Yeah. The offense hasn't helped them, so they're on the field more, and they look kind of bad. But in reality, they're a good defense. Julio Jones, you're going against one of the worst teams in the league. You've got to produce because this is like your make or break week. Because if you can't do it this week, then I don't know what the hell to do with you, man. Like, please bring back Julio Jones of last year, even when you played top 5 receiver. When he wasn't, he was a dud. But I need Julio. The world needs Julio. It's week 14. Please give us something.
Julio, yeah.
Julio,
where are you, Julio? All right, I got another sit before we get into our hotter stuff. Jugraj, Pata, Beasley versus Tampa, or Guyton versus the Giants. Full PPR, thank you. I like the matchup of Guyton versus the Giants here. Beasley should see a decent day in full PPR formats, but with Keenan Allen out, the amount of targets that's going to be there available for the other wide receivers, I like Guyton in the positive matchup versus the Giants.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Cole Beasley. I mean, this guy has been just non-existent, really. Outside that, I think 12 catch game he had like 3-4 weeks ago, he's been nothing but a dud. Guyton is being forced into the role. Guyton he's not a bad receiver. He played more playing time even with Keenan Allen there. I think he has more of a rapport with Justin Herbert. I think that Josh Allen just has too many like offensive weapons. I think Tampa's going to lock down what they can, and Beasley's one of those guys that they can put their like second, third corner on and be okay with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's Guyton this week. The Giants, I know Bradbury's there, but he's going to be shadowing Mike Williams. So I think Guyton could be a nice, sneaky little solid start for you, especially in PPR.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for the question. Joe Hamilton, Stafford or Lamar?
Ooh, we should get Jack and Splash for this one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always going to take the quarterback that can run the ball, that has the legs, especially if it's a 4-point passing league for TDs. I'm definitely going to take that upside of rushing. So give me Lamar. I mean, they could both end up having the same kind of day, but give me Lamar Jackson there.
Yeah, I think Lamar has a better upside. I don't really like Stafford against the Cardinals. I mean, I'd start him because I have him in the league, but I think that Lamar, except the rushing upside, he's going to give you a 100-yard game. Stafford would get you 300 yards passing, but like I said, that rushing upside, if it's a 4-point touchdown league, you can throw a touchdown, get 4. He can rush a touchdown, get you 6. He can rush for 100 yards. Lamar is just the guy to have. I mean, I like Stafford. He's good. He's a Detroit guy. He was great, but he also kind of looked bad. He has a pick 6 in the multiple games this year. Lamar had the 4-interception game a few weeks ago, but I think it's a get-right game, especially after last week's abysmal, stupid decision to go for the 2-point conversion. I think Lamar comes back and starts slinging that rock. And it's a Sammy Watkins week. This is week
I called
13.
it. Yeah. And with that, you mentioned Jack and Splash. They're doing a watch along for the Monday Night Football game. So make sure you're liking our stream. You're subscribing to the channel to get those prompts, to get those updates of the new shows. I'm excited to tune in to watch those guys talk football. They know their stuff. Jack knows his LA Rams.
Yes,
so
he
I'm
does.
excited to see him. I'm excited to watch the LA Rams versus the Arizona Cardinals, and Splash knows his football inside and out. So
if there's one guy that knows his football, and especially about the Baltimore Ravens, it's Splash.
Yeah.
And like it's like the Manning podcast. You just watch it, see Jack's reactions. Just watch two good minds that know football, that know a different version of football, and you'll like it. I mean, look how me and Chris are. Like, we sit here, we tell you who to start every week. You guys listen to us. These guys know what they're talking about. I mean, the sports desk every Tuesday, these guys go on, and they know what they're doing, what they're talking about. Tune in. You never know.
Tune in. Yeah, tune in. SD Joe Hamilton, Hilliard, Sutton, or Penny, half PPR flex. For me, it's between Sutton and Hilliard here. I'm going to go Hilliard.
Oh, yeah. Sutton has been... it's like him and Allen Robinson just decided to not play football this year and go, hey, let's just get out of here. Let's go do our own thing. And Penny, I just told you almost 30 minutes ago, don't start anyone on that Seattle running back room. It's going to be like, you're going to sit there all day like, why am I the way that I am? Hilliard, you'll find out in a few minutes why I want you to start Hilliard.
Let's get into it. Let's get into our sleeper starts of the week, Steph. Let's dive right into it. Perfect segue on why we should start Hilliard here for you. Tell the people why they should start Dontrell.
Oh, man. So a few weeks ago, was high on Donta Foreman. And of course, when you're high on one guy, the other guy comes out like, hey, I'm just a random guy. This is not a random guy. This is a purebred running back. This guy I think he was on the Cleveland Browns a few weeks ago, correct?
Yep.
This guy was about to be a stud for Cleveland when all those running backs started getting hurt, but he gets waived, goes to the Titans, out of nowhere produces a 12-carry game. Oh, okay, subpar 12 carries, 131 yards and a touchdown against New England. Like, that team is not – you saw what they did against Buffalo. They held that team in check rushing-wise, but you're going to tell me this guy had 12 carries, 131 and a touchdown against a good run defense, and then they're going against Jacksonville, the team that their coach likes to go out in Ohio and go to a freaking club and a bar and get grinded on. That kind of team, the guy who benches his running back for 26 snaps in a game, that kind of team, man. This guy right here is again, who is Dontrell Hilliard? Who is this guy? Do I start him? Yes, you start him. He is ugly. It's not sexy. It's 2021, people. This is what you do. You find some guy that produced good against a good run defense and go, hey, Jacksonville, yeah, I'm going to start it. What? I produce this guy to have 20 carries, 100 yards, and give me 4 or 5 catches, 50 yards, and a receiving touchdown.
Ooh, big numbers.
I think this is the game, because I think that Tennessee has to reestablish that run game, but not establish it through 3 running backs. Give it to Hilliard, make him your workhorse. If it doesn't work out this week, ditch him. But this is the guy. This is the guy who is like a smaller version of Derrick Henry. I know. I'm going to get slandered for saying that. But look at his last few games. He's averaged, 5 yards a carry his last 2 games. Even though he had 7 carries against Houston week 11, his first game there, that's still a decent workload. 12 for 131. That's almost a what? If I'm not mistaken, that's almost a 12 yard per carry rush. Get this guy in your lineup as an RB1 or 2, then don't even think about it. And if he doesn't do well, you know what? I don't think he doesn't do well. I think he balls out, and especially in are they in Tennessee?
I think so.
Okay, so the weather is kind of cool. This is the running back season. This is when the running backs that come out and they rush and pound the rock. This is it. This is Dontrell Hilliard's breakout game with a full workload. Donta Foreman, a little bit there. Jeremy McNichols, a little bit there. But get the A1 steak sauce and pour it all over with Dontrell Hilliard.
I love it. I love the steak sauce this weekend, Steph. I love the steak sauce. My sleeper start of the week, and then we'll get to some of our final questions. I'll rifle through this pretty quickly. Tight end, New York Giants, Evan Ingram. Yes, Evan Ingram is startable this week versus the Chargers, who led up the 6th most points to the position. The Giants' most consistent receiver this season is Evan Ingram, who soaks up 15% of the team's target share. As crazy as that is to say, with some of the names they got going on there. Over the last 3 games, he has seen 5 targets per game, and over those last 3, his usage has been optimal in an offense where he has seen the highest amount of snap share for the receiving players on the field. Sterling Shepard is due back, I believe. Kadarius Toney's out. Kenny Golladay is pretty much non-existent. His last game was his best, and that was with Mike Glennon, who is scheduled to start this week with Daniel Jones still out, I think, with a neck injury. So I'm expecting a decent day for Ingram coming into the week versus the Chargers. 5 catches, 60 yards, and a TD. So another decent top 10 day for a tight end. If you're streaming them, he's definitely a guy that you should look at. They're using him quite a bit over the past few weeks. So fire up Evan Ingram. All right, let's get to our last few questions here. Firefighter 1526, new to the channel. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Lamar or Rodgers and McLaurin or Javonte Williams in a full PPR?
Oh, I don't. Rodgers, I had a report this morning that said he had that injury. He's going to play with the entire year, and he's not going to be out. I don't know, man. I don't like the whole injury news. That turf toe is a big deal. It's a running quarterback semi, so I got to go Lamar Jackson and Terry McLaurin or Javonte. I got to go Javonte Williams. I think receiving and rushing wise, he has the volume aspect. I really, really don't want them to use Melvin Gordon as much. I think they need to wake up and see what they've got with Javonte. So I'm going Lamar and I'm going Javonte Williams.
Yeah, I like Lamar there. I mean, Rodgers is so tempting for Chicago, but like you said, does have that toe injury. So give me the quarterback that's going to rush the ball, and that's Lamar Jackson. And then, like you said, Javonte over McLaurin. That's tough. See, the Washington Redskins just haven't put up, football team just hasn't put up that much points over the past few weeks. I think they've scored 16 back to back. So scoring isn't a thing that the Washington football team likes to do per se. So give me Javonte Williams and Lamar. I agree with you there. Thank you for tuning in. Joel Hamilton, other league now, same thing. Need a win to get in the playoffs. Sony Michel or Dontrell Hilliard, non-PPR. Give me Sony Michel there. That's, I think, just volume based. Sony Michel's the guy that's going to outperform.
I know I just preached why Hilliard, but I think Michelle last week, who he had like 21 carries, almost like he was heavily involved. And McVay did come out and said they want to give more heavy formations. I think Michelle would have a good game, but
yeah,
it just Hilliard's got the matchup. Like he's got the matchup that he should have his breakout game. Definitively, I'm gonna stick on the Hilliard side. I think they both have good games. But I just think that Hilliard edges him out because the matchup, they're in Tennessee, and I think the weather plays a big factor. So start up Hilliard. I gotta go opposite of what my host says.
So. Oh, I don't know. Good luck, Joe.
Oh man,
all right, it's tough, man. It's a tough situation to be, but this is why we play the game for these
play
week 14s.
To win the game.
Yeah, play. The drama of week 14 is crazy for some people. Let's get into our bold sits before we get out of here. Who's your bold sit of the week, Steph?
Oh man, so it's now December. We're getting into the holiday season of Christmas time. Halloween has passed, and so has starting Scary Terry. He's no longer Scary Terry. It's more like just Terry, like, hey, I'm Terry McLaurin, no longer Scary Terry. But what has been scary has been his numbers. I mean, the last 2 games, where have you been? Tyler Henneke does do good, but it doesn't produce for Terry McLaurin. It seems like he's there and like, oh, wow, Washington's doing good. How many yards does Terry McLaurin have? 30 yards, 40 yards, 3-4 catches. You're like, wait a minute. How are they doing so well, yet they're not giving it to their playmaker? I mean, they had 16 points last week.
Yep.
Terry McLaurin was non-existent. I mean, ever since Halloween, it seems like, he had that one good game 2-3 weeks ago. But outside of that, what have you done for me? Yeah. I don't think against Dallas. I mean, it's going to be one of those like cold weather games again. It's going to be a Dallas versus Dallas versus the football team, kind of a game. Yeah. It's like you look at these interconference, like interdivisional games where it's like 21 to 17, where it's like a low scoring game. It's ugly. The running backs are getting the bulk of the carries. I just think that the Dallas defense is going to just lock down the Washington football team. Mike McCarthy is guaranteeing them a win. And if you're going to guarantee them a win, you better make sure that this guy right here is locked down, because if he's not, it's going to be Scary Terry season all year for you guys. Yeah. I think he goes 5 catches, 50 yards, no touchdown. It's not a bad stat number, but like where you took Scary Terry, it's not like, hey, I got you in the 3rd, 2nd round somewhere. You're not producing numbers that I want you to produce. If you have someone better, a running back better, I would start Dontrell Hilliard over him. I would start even starting Michelle, I would start over him if I had to flex him. Like, these are guys that are producing now. And Scary Terry, if he doesn't produce, he could lose you your week 14 playoff matchup, or he could lose you your bye week potential. He can even lose you like your chance to get into the playoffs. This week, I don't like it. I mean, maybe next week we'll see how it goes, but it's not looking good for Scary Terry, and that offense is just not producing the craziest. They're getting wins, but they're not producing numbers that go out and go, hey, start me as your receiver 1 now. So I'm okay with leaving him on my bench. Let him sit a little bit, but it's no longer Scary Terry. It's now just Terry McLaurin again.
Just regular old Terry McLaurin. I'm going to piggyback off you here, and my bold sit is another wide receiver, another top 10 guy. Hasn't really produced too much over the past little bit. He was injured. He did have a hamstring injury. But for me, it's wide receiver from the Arizona Cardinals, DeAndre Nuke Hopkins. It does sound a little crazy, but at the end of the day, it is bold, and that's what we like to do here. 4 targets over the last 2 games. He was saved by an early touchdown last week. I think his first catch was that TD, yep. But he hasn't been the target either that he once was earlier in the season. Now he gets the Rams in a divisional matchup where he will definitely be a top sit. And if they use him too much, I'm nervous that hamstring injury is gonna flare up and ultimately lead to him being on the sidelines. They don't necessarily need to win to stay in. They want to win to hold that top spot in the conference, sure. but they don't necessarily need him to be the guy to win the game. This season, he has taken a step back in target share compared to his last 3 seasons. In 2020, he saw a 29.4% target share, which put him at wide receiver 2. In 2019, he saw a 30.9 target share, which put him at wide receiver 2 again. In 2018, he saw a 32.9% target share, which put him at wide receiver 1. This year, he's only seeing a 19% target share, which puts him at wide receiver 37. Although it's projected to be a high-scoring affair this week, I'm projecting Nuke to have a mediocre day, with Jalen Ramsey most likely sitting on most of his routes. Their last matchup, Hopkins caught 4 balls for 67 yards. I'm expecting him, my projection, 4 catches, 50 yards for the Monday Nighter. Again, make sure you're tuning in to the uSTADIUM channel. Jack and Splash are going to be doing a watch along to watch DeAndre Hopkins not be existent on the field. So he's my bold sit of the week. So DeAndre Hopkins for me, Terry McLaurin for you. 2 big name wide receivers that we don't expect to have big days. We got another question here. Zion Amlani, start A.J. Dillon or Brandon Cooks at flex full PPR. I like Dillon here, man. As much as we think that Aaron Jones is going to have a good day, what he most likely is going to have a good day, I'm still expecting A.J. Dillon to be part of that offense. And Brandon Cooks has been non-existent over the past few weeks. And now he's got Davis Mills throwing him the ball. They did have that one good game where Davis Mills found him a bunch of times, but I just don't see it happening for the Houston Texans today. So give me A.J. Dillon in that spot.
Yeah, I think they can coexist. I mean, there's no really running back room that is just, hey, this is our guy only. It's everyone else plus their handcuff. Outside of Dalvin Cook on Thursday night, there is no other, other real handcuffs. A.J. Dillon is that guy. A.J. Dillon hasn't done anything to go, hey, I shouldn't deserve this carry. He's a big, really big running back. Like he's a powerhouse
big dude.
I think A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones can coexist in that backfield because you take away some of that like workload off of Aaron Rodgers. Again, turf toe injury. Why not lead on your 2 stud running backs? A.J. Dillon anywhere else is a starting running back, 25 carries, 30 carries a game, Derrick Henry type numbers. But I think in this offense on tonight's game in Chicago, if I'm guessing right, on a cold night, why not run your backs?
Yeah.
Just boom, run your backs, run A.J. Dillon, give him 30 carries between them 2, and A.J. Dillon could produce you flex numbers. I just, like I said, I piggyback off your Brandon Cooks take. I don't know what's going on in that offense. Oh, wait, no, I do. They just suck. and Davis Mills doesn't know what he's doing. Like, he's like, I don't know. Houston is just a team that I'm starting Seattle's defense against them because it's Houston. I'm not starting any Houston running back. I'm not starting any Houston quarterback, receiver, anything. So give me A.J. Dillon with you. That's all I got to say about that.
Yep. We appreciate the questions. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel, download the uSTADIUM app. Takes is live and it's electric. It's an absolute game changer. I won points buying into Stefan's take last week that Javonte Williams would finish as RB1. That's easy. That's so easy for me to pick that one there, especially with Gordon out. We all know what the kid could do. But that's it for us. Good luck this week. Set your lineups. 'Tis the season to play spoiler. If you're out, try to ruin one of these other guys' days. Either take them out of the bye, take them out of that. If you guys play for money, take them out of that, regular season first place win. Some of you guys can knock guys out of the playoffs, guys that are fighting for a playoff spot where they think that it's easy to play your team. Set your lineups, play the waivers, and good luck. Stefan, let them know where they can find you, big guy.
Every single week, my DMs are open on Twitter. Send me whatever you want. I've gotten a few people, I've helped them out. I get you guys in the playoffs. If I have any takes that didn't go through this week, please, I will take it. I'm a grown man, and I will take the slander that I had if I told you to start a guy. But, hey, You've been following us for the last 14 weeks almost. Let us help you. We've been doing our best. We crunch numbers. Chris is up every night. He's doing whatever he can to make sure we have the smart pickups, smart starts. So let us know. And we also have 20 minutes before games start. Also the later games as well. Shoot us our messages. I have a post up there. If any questions, starts, sits, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to help you. And if we help you win, that makes us feel good about our job. If you come back and go, oh my God, you told me to start this guy, I won because of it. That makes us happy. I'm glad we can gift you a Christmas present before actual Christmas. So
hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Let us know.
That's it. That's it for us, guys.